Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Exploit Security. As always, I'm your host, Scott, and today we are going to be jumping right back into Over-the-Wire Leviathan. So about 2 weeks ago, we left off with Leviathan 2. So if you haven't seen the previous content, I have a couple videos where we work all the way up. Make sure you check that out. I also have some really good content from Over-the-Wire, which is Over-the-Wire Bandit and Over-the-Wire Nodus. Nodus is going to be primarily based around web application, where Bandit is going to be very, very similar to Leviathan. I would say, just kind of going off what I've seen on first few levels of Leviathan, Bandit is going to be a little bit easier. It's definitely an introduction to what we're going to be doing today. So make sure you check those videos out on my page as well. And then also, full disclosure, this is a solution-based video, which means by the end, we'll see the solution for the challenge. So if you haven't tried to solve the challenge on your own, just go ahead and pause the video, give it a shot, see what you can figure out. Use previous videos as indicators for what this challenge. But if you're still banging your head against the wall, not able to solve, you've come to the right spot, as we are going to show you the workflow and the solution. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So like I say in all my other videos, most of the challenges are going to be siloed to the home directory. So you shouldn't really have to expand outside the home directory. And they do that just so you can primarily focus on learning what you need. Any rabbit holes, I like to call them rabbit holes. They're essentially places where you think that you're finding a clue, and you can spend hours and hours trying to find the solution, thinking that it is the attack vector you want to aim for, and only to find out that no, it's just a rabbit hole. So the reason why I like to use it, especially when I'm working with my mentees, is because it's just very well siloed. So I don't have to worry about them getting lost, and it's just very well structured. So it's especially for people just starting out, like cybersecurity professionals that have an red team or penetration test. I like to kind of start with this. So in most cases, we can just stick with the current working. I'm just going to list it out. Again, you can see some standard files. We're going to go ahead and ignore those, but we can also see that there's a binary there called level 3. So there's a few different things we can do. I like to show strings just because it comes in handy when you're doing static malware analysis, or you're just trying to investigate a file or binary, and it comes in handy. You can also do cat as well. The issue with cat, as you can see, is it's going to come back with a bunch of junk. And that's because this is a compiled language, so some of this stuff isn't going to be huge. And that's where strings comes into play, right? With strings, you can really see anything that's identified that is considered human readable within that file. And then you can kind of go through and you can search some of these keywords to get the idea of what the binary may be. This is particularly handy when it comes to malware analysis. If you're doing that initial investigation of a potentially malicious file, you can run something like this. You start to see it's making a bunch of network calls or something along those lines, and you can kind of get a feel for what that malware may be doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear this out, and then we're just going to execute free. Again, very similar to the previous challenge, it's asking us to enter password. So I'm just going to do monkey. I don't really see a point of trying to do password guessing for these challenges. One, most CTF challenges try to avoid password guessing only because, or brute forcing, only because you can word list and end up finding absolutely nothing after running 2, 3, 4 hours. So in most cases, in my experience, they tend to try to avoid. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't going to be challenges down the road. They have to do that. But in most cases, with simple challenges like these, it's not going to be password guessing, not going to be password attack. So we can just go ahead and hit enter for the password. Right off the bat, we get a response that it is wrong. So again, the one thing that I really like to use, and you've seen me use it in the previous levels, is ltrace, which is just a Linux utility and trace the library functions. And we're going to do that and kind of try to see if we can figure out or determine what's going on. So in order to run ltrace, you just type in ltrace space, and then you execute that binary. And right off the bat, you can start to see some of those calls, and you can see there's a string comparison pretty quickly popping up, which is interesting. It's doing a string comparison before it even prompts us for the password. So I'm just thinking this is a false flag, something to kind of throw us off. Maybe they want you to try to use those Hono 33 or the ka. In this case, we are just going to take note of that, but we're going to drive by it. We're going to see what gets called when we type in our password. And pretty quickly, you can see that there's another string comparison. And this time you can see that it's comparing the password that I just ran as input. It's comparing it to SNL printf. So if I'm willing to bet, I am willing to bet that it's going to be SNL printf for the password as opposed to Hono 33 or ka. So let's just go ahead and copy that. And now we can run it with ltrace again. We're just going to paste in that password and hit enter. And right off the bat, you can see that it is telling us we have shell. Because we are getting prompted for free. So what we can probably do next is just to keep it clean, I'm going to go ahead and just to not remember where the password file for Leviathan is. I know it is inside Etsy, so we're just going to look in there. Probably under Leviathan Pass or something along those lines, but Leviathan Pass. So then we can just do cat Etsy Leviathan _ pass, and then it is Leviathan 4. Let's see. So let's that. And let's run it again without the ltrace. We know the password was SNL printf. Shell, who am I? There we go, Leviathan 4. All right, so now we can actually look inside of the Etsy Leviathan _ pass, and now we should be able to see the password for 4. There we have it. Let's just go ahead and copy that. Exit. Exit. We're going to replace out that 3 on the Leviathan 3, which is the username. It's also the corresponding level. We'll replace that and drop the 4. And we'll paste in that password we found. And there you have it. So we were able to pass level 3 and make it to Leviathan 4. So I would say this one is a lot easier than Leviathan 2 to 3. That one definitely got me a little bit. And I had to remember some of that symlink stuff. So definitely an interesting one. I would have liked to see Leviathan 3 to 4 as maybe Leviathan, just from level of difficulty. But as you can see, not too hard. If you take what you learned in the previous videos, you can definitely apply that here and find the solution. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you for Leviathan 4. Thanks, everyone.